Pampagulo lang yon, pampasikip ng buhay natin, ang pinaniniwalaang di naman sinusundan. John 14:15, Jesus said to His disciples, "If you love me, you will do as I command." So ngayon, nadagdagan ang kahulugan ng pagsunod kay Jesus at paniniwala. Ibig sabihin ay pag-ibig. Kung naniniwala ka sa Kanya, mamahalin mo Siya. At kung minamahal mo Siya, susunod ka sa Kanya mga iniuutos. So very interrelated, the concept of believing, loving, and obeying. Parang isang cycle yan. Naniniwala ka pala, di dapat mahalin mo Siya. Kasi pag nalaman mo talaga kung sino Siya at napinaniwalaan mo, mamahalin mo At pag minamahal mo, dapat mong sundin o dahil sinusunod mo Siya, napatutunayan mong naniniwala ka at nagmamahal. Jesus is the ultimate teacher and model in dealing with people. At yan ang gusto nating bigyan ng pansin at diin ngayon mga kapatid. Kung naniniwala tayo kay Jesus, Siya ang dapat nating tularan kung paano Siya makipagkapwa, kung paano Siya makitungo, makisalamuha, makipagniig, kung paano Siya makisangkot sa mga tao. At dahil Siya ang ultimate teacher and model, not anyone else, definitely not anyone in the Old Testament before Him, and not anyone in the New Testament after Him could surpass the supreme and the perfect example of Jesus. Surely may mapapala tayo, may mapupulot, may matututunan sa mga leaders, teachers, prophets sa Bible na nauna sa Kanya at mga sumunod. Pero ang dapat talaga na tularan, itaas at sundin ay ang estilo, ang paraan ni Jesus. 1 Peter 2:21, God chose you to follow in the footsteps of Christ, who set an example for you. Ang mga anak daw ng Diyos ay hinirang, pinili niya exactly for the purpose of following Jesus. Kung si Jesus ay anak ng Diyos at ang mga mananampalataya ay anak ng Diyos, pinarami ng Diyos yung anak niyang si Jesus sa pamamagitan ng marami niyang mga anak na mga tagasunod ni Jesus. And Jesus had one supreme command, that is to love people. Paano sasabihin ng isang taong siya'y mananampalataya kay Jesus kung hindi siya maibigin? Kung hindi niya inuuna na ibigin ng tao, yun ang pinakamahalagang utos ni Jesus. John 13:34, "But I am giving you a new command. You must love each other just as I have loved you." So, a new command. Meaning, isa lang, hindi many. A new command, meaning, this has never been commanded before in the same way that it's being expressed. It is not old, and in fact, it replaces the old. Bakit in-emphasize ng Panginoon na meron siyang bagong command? Because Israel lived by the 10 commandments. Ang dami nun. And in addition, Israel developed 613 other commands called mitzvot. So 613 plus 10 is already what? 623 commands. Nakakalito na sa dami at nakakataranta na sa pagsunod dahil pati haba ng balbas, haba ng damit, anong kakainin, anong hindi. Kasama sa mga commands na yan. So sabi ni Lord, huwag na lang kayong malito. Ang bibigay ko sa inyo, isang utos lamang. At ito ang bagong utos. Dapat bigyan ng pansin at dapat sundin. Sabi niya, mangag-ibigan kayo sa isa't isa. Ibigin nyo ang bawat kapatid sa Panginoon. Ibigin nyo ang inyong kapwa. 1 John 4:7-8, "My dear friends, we must love each other. Love comes from God, and when we love each other, it shows that we have been given new life. We are now God's children, and we know Him. God is love, and anyone who doesn't love others has never known Him." Dito ay nag-echo, umaalingaw-ngaw, pinapakitang muli sa napakalinaw na paliwanag yung utos ni Jesus. At sinabi sa 1 John, dapat tayo mag-ibigan. Kasi ang pag-ibig ay galing sa Diyos. Kung sinasabi mo ikaw'y bine-bless ng Diyos, dapat ang unang blessing na makita sa buhay mo ay natuturuan kang umibig sa kapwa. At nagiging maibigin din at kaibig-ibig pag yung iyong pagkatao. So niya, pag tayo nag-iibigan, ito'y patunay na nabigyan na tayo ng bagong buhay. Tungkol tayo, born again ka ba? Meron ka na bang new life? Meron ka na bang new hope? Ikaw ba'y renewed Christian? Etc. etc. Pero ang patunay daw na meron tayong bagong buhay ay tayo nagiging maibigin. Sabi tayo ay mga anak na ng Diyos at kilala natin siya. Ang Diyos ay pag-ibig. At sino mang hindi umiibig, hindi nakakakilala sa Diyos. Those that love know God. Though they may not know many things like systematic theology, like verses or doctrines, that usually are used to measure one's spirituality. Kuminsan ang nagiging patunay na ikaw nga ay may bagong buhay na sa Panginoon, na nagkaroon ka na ng kapanganakang muli, sa nagiging theology mo, sa mga namememorya mong verses, sa nagiging pagbabago ng inyong anyo, hairstyle, damit, language, taste, what you buy and not buy, what you eat and not eat. But no. This is the way of the Pharisees. This is the way of the religious system of Israel, na patunayan mong anak ka ng Diyos sa pamamagitan ng nakikita at naririnig sa iyo. Pero sabi ng 1 John 4:7-8, ang patunay talaga na ikaw ay may buhay na bago na ikaw ay nga sa Panginoon na, ay ikay maibigin na. The best way to know God is the way of love. And the best way to make God known to others is also the way of love. In other words, let's not be confused. The distinctive of real believers is not what Bible version they read. It's not what kind of articles of faith or statements of faith they subscribe to. Pero nakikita sa kanilang pagmamahal. So maraming mga tao, napaka-godly pala nila. Sometimes hindi nila alam na hindi sila religious. Very godly. Very loving. Meron mga tao, very religious, pero hindi loving. And basing it on what we have read and studied so far, yung loving, kahit hindi religious, yun ang mas tatanggaping anak ng Diyos. Kasi ang pagkakakilanlan ay ang ating pag-ibig. Those that do not love God, do not know God. Though they may know systematic theology, verses or doctrines, etc., etc. Because love is the distinctive. It is love that makes you different. It is your love, your capacity to love, your willingness to love that makes you identifiably a follower of Jesus. Napapansin niyo ba mga kapatid, na babaligtad pa nga ako minsan yan Pag ang isang tao nagiging very religious, madalas nga nagiging hindi pa siya loving Yes, may love, pero only among the congregation where that person belongs. Pero may hatred sa ibang congregations, may disapproval and merong rejection of what you might call an unbeliever. In other words, walang love. Kumisan nga pag ang tao nagiging sobrang religyoso, doon pa tumitigas ang puso. Dahil iniisip mo, inuutos sa iyo ng Diyos at ikinakalugod ng Diyos na i-reject mo yung iba, hiyain mo sila, huwag mo silang tanggapin, at layuan mo pa nga. This is the way of the Pharisees. Hindi na yata tayo titigil ng hahambing sa pamamaraan ni Jesus at sa pamamaraan ng Pharisees, ng mga religious leaders of his time. And you know why we always do that? Because the ways of the Pharisees always rear its ugly head even in today's Christian churches. Dahil sa halip na si Jesus ang makita mo at maramdaman, madalas ang nararamdaman mo yung presensya ng mga taong hindi talaga nagustuhan ni Jesus ang pamamaraan at mga taong kanyang tinuligsa. Kaya mahalaga, laging sinusuri ang sarili. You always ask, is it loving? Is it the loving way? O ipagpipilitan mo ang doktrina mo, yung paniniwala mo, kahit nagiging unloving ka na. Sabi, ang tunay na kay Jesus, maibigin. At ang hindi maibigin, ano man ang kanyang argumento na siya'y makadiyos, pag hindi siya makaibigin, sabi ng Biblia, hindi niya kilala ang Diyos. Jesus teaches us to forgive. Isa yan na cornerstone teaching ng Panginoon. Because love is to forgive. So you love to forgive. You love people to the point of being able to forgive them. Napapansin naman siguro natin mga kapatid, pag mahal mo yung tao, mas madali magpatawad. Pag iba yung gumawa, sinisigil mo, pero pag mahal mo sa buhay, libre. Kasi mahal mo eh. At sabi naman talaga sa scriptures, love covers a multitude of sins. So love to forgive. Love to the point of being able to forgive. And forgive to love. Cyclical. Mahalin mo para mapatawad mo. At patawarin mo para mamahal mo. O kung nagkasala sa iyo, dati mong mahal, patawarin mo para mamahal mo ulit. In other words, it's not enough to say, I forgive you. Huwag na lang tayo magkita ever again. Lumayo ka na lang sa akin. No. You forgive to be able to love again. Kasi love is the cornerstone of your faith. Love is the distinctive by which you will be known. Therefore, you turn hatred into love. That's why you forgive. That's why you make peace with people. Not only so that trouble will stop, but so that you can begin to love again. And why does Jesus want us to love? One, because people need love. Especially when they don't deserve it. Napansin niyo ba na ang tunay na nangangailangan ng pag-ibig ay hindi yung kaibig-ibig? Yung hindi karapat-dapat mahalin, yun talaga mga gutom sa pag-ibig. Kasi una, dahil hindi sila karapat-dapat, wala naman siguro halos nagmamahal sa kanila. So sino ngayon ang mas nangangailangan ng pagmamahal, di ba? Sila. So you love people because they need it. Because that's what Jesus would do. But also, you love people because you need it. We were created by God to love because God is love. So everybody has so much love to give. At pag hindi mo na ibigay yon, parang sasabog na bulkan yon sa loob ng iyong dibdib. Marami tayong pag-ibig na gustong ipahayag, ipadama, kaya dapat buksan natin yung mga avenues. But most of the time, the people that we love hurt us. Whether they know it or not, we get hurt by the people we love. Because when you love people, you're sensitive to them. You are sensitive to what they do and not do. Nagiging maramdamin tayo pag mahal natin ang tao. Kasi ramdam na ramdam mo kung hindi ka kinausap, hindi ka tinext, hindi ka sinusuyo, ramdam na ramdam mo. Samantalang, hindi ka man kausapin ng iba na hindi mo man mahal, ano naman, hindi mo naman pinapansin yon. Kaya ang pinakamadalas na maging object ng ating galit, tampo, hinanakit, ay yung mga mahal natin sa buhay. Ano ngayon ang mangyayari kung yung mahal mo, nasasaktan ka, sinasadya man niya o hindi? Magagalit ka ngayon, o magdaramdam, maghihinanakit. Di ba lugi ka nun kasi merong negative baggage yung puso mo? Na habang hindi mo naman na-i-express yung tunay mong pagmamahal, nahihirapan ka rin. Kaya ang tinuturo ng Panginoon, magpatawaran kayo. Huwag kayong gumamit ng pride sa mga mahal nyo sa buhay because pride makes you sad. Pride separates you from people. Humility connects you with people. Non-forgiveness separates. Forgiving people connects and reconnects. And when there is connection, we all benefit. Hindi ka inuutosan ng Panginoon na magpatawad para ka ipalugi. Inuutosan ka magpatawad para ka makinabang. At para makinabang din ang iyong papatawarin. Isa pang estilo ng Panginoon na lagi nating idinidiin, Jesus teaches us not to judge one another. Bakit? Pag judgmental ka, baka 99.99% ng mga tao, may makita ka mali. Pag nakita mong mali, maaring mabawasan ang affection mo, o mainis ka pa, o magalit. So, sino na naman ang lugi? Di ikaw. At pag lagi ang nakikita mo yung mali, lumulungkot ka. Na-o-offend. So, para ka sumaya, don't judge other people. At para rin sila sumaya. Kasi marami naman sa atin mga kapatid, hindi naman tayo kontentong mag-judge na tama siya o mali siya. Pag nabigyan na natin ng judgment, usually, we also want to do the next thing, to punish people. Suriin niyo mga kapatid, mahilig ba kayo magparusa? Kasi ang pagpaparusa, kakambal ng judgmentalism. Pag may taong nakagawa sa inyo ng mali, paano nyo pinaparusahan? Mahal nyo sa buhay, kasambahay nyo, meron kayo hindi na gustuhang kilos niya o sinabi niya, paano nyo pinaparusahan? Hindi nyo pinapansin? O sinasaktan nyo ang damdamin niya? Basta tayo mahilig magparusa. At pag nagpaparusa ka, the evil side of you is made happy temporarily. But the good side of you grieves. Remember, inside everybody, there's some bad and there's some good. At pag pinaparusahan mo, tinitiki, sinasadista ang mahal mo. Meron ding bahagi ng iyong puso na nasusugatan at nagdurugo. Kaya nalulugi ka rin. Maaaring may ikinatutuwa ka na nakakaganti-ganti ka, pero kung aminin mo kapatid, ikinalulungkot mo rin yun. Tao kasi tayo, nilikha sa wangis ng Diyos. Pag may ginagawa tayong masakit sa ating kapwa, kahit paghihiganti pa nga, dinaramdam din natin. Kadalasan, hindi lang natin binibigyan ng pansin na dinaramdam natin. Kasi gusto natin ituloy yung paghihiganti, yung paggawa ng mali. Pero pag ginagawa natin yon, it is our conscience that suffers. And we suffer in many other ways. So the way of Jesus to love you is to teach you to not judge. It is also the way of Jesus to love others. Kasi mahal din ni Jesus sa mga ginajudge natin, kasi niya, huwag niyo siyang i-judge. At mahal ka rin, kaya ayaw kanya mag-judge. Kasi ikaw mismo titigas ang puso. You will have a tendency to make people suffer after you have judged them. And you will also suffer in the same way. Kaya ang sabi niya sa Matthew 7, 1-2, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Do you think that it is only God who will judge you when you judge others? No. When you judge others, you also judge yourself. Kasi nagiging clear sa iyo ang tama at mali. Tapos pag alam mo na may mali ka rin, there is a part of you that will be condemned by your very own judgment. We are complex beings. Hindi tayo mga simple. Kaya kung minsan, hindi mo alam kung bakit ka malungkot, yung pala ginajudge mo ang sarili mo. At sasabihin mo, kapatid, kailan ko naman ginajudge ang sarili mo? Nung nag-judge ka ng iba. Because when you judge, you get judged. Not only by God, but by your own conscience. Sometimes people are not aware that they are being judged by their own conscience. Kaya nade-depress sila. Nagkakaroon sila ng mga sakit na hindi makita ng mga doktor kasi spiritual illness yun. Hati ang loob. At ang pagiging hati, nagiging dahilan niya ng mga kasakitan. Pag hati ang loob mo, sinasabi mong masama ang ginagawa mo, tapos alam mong ginagawa mo rin, hati ka. Kasi ginajudge mo rin ang iyong sarili. Kaya maraming hindi maipaliwanag na sakit ang tao. Kumisan hindi makita sa mga lab test. Pero spiritual illness kasi. At hindi natin laging naikokonekta na ito yung nanggagaling sa being judgmental. Because the poison that you reserve for others is consumed in your own blood first. Kaya dapat magandang iniisip mo sa kapwa. Kasi yun din ang iisipin ng konsensya mo tungkol sa iyong sarili. Pinagpapatawad mo, pinagpapasensyahan ng kapwa, dahil yung budhi, ganun din ang gagawin sa iyong sarili. Because, sabi ni Jesus, as you do to others, it will be done to you. Kasi sabi niya, do to others as you would want others to do unto you. So you want to be forgiven? Forgive. You don't want to be judged? Don't judge. Lahat ng katuruan na ito ni Jesus ay dahil mahal niya tayo. Alam niya ang paraan kung paano matatahimik ang ating mga sarili. Judging others means non-love. Judging others means judging oneself. Bakit hindi pag-ibig yun? Yun ay hindi pag-ibig sa kapwa at hindi rin pag-ibig sa iyong sarili. Kasi pag sinabi mo, dapat i-judge ang kasalanan mo na yan para magpapaulan ka ng mga pana para tamaan yung may kasalanan. Pero dahil kasalanan mo rin yun, tatamaan ka rin. At masasaktan ka rin. And the moment that you deny in your heart that you're also guilty and you're judging yourself, mahahati ka. Kaya iba nagkaka-split personality pa, nagkakaroon ng schizophrenia. Dalawa ang pagkatao o mahigit pa ron. At kuminsan, nagiging dalawa rin ang boses o nagkakaiba-iba. Sabi ng iba ay possessed. No, bihira sa mga ganun cases ang possessed by spirits. Madalas, it's a psychiatric situation. Dahil lito sa sarili, hindi consistent. And one of the greatest and biggest and easiest way to be inconsistent is to judge others. Because there is very, very little chance that you will pass the same judgment. That you will pass it. Kaya sabi ni Jesus, maging mabait ka na lang at mapagpatawad para yun din ang matanggap mo mula sa Diyos, mula sa iba, at higit sa lahat, mula sa iyong sariling budhi. And because Jesus loves us, Jesus teaches us to enjoy simple pleasures. Nakita niyo ang pag-ibig ng Panginoong Jesus? Bihira itong makita na pag-ibig mula sa Pharisees, mula sa mga religious leaders. Because Jesus teaches us to enjoy simple pleasures like eating, drinking, socializing, and resting. Madalas, pag nakinig ka sa religious leaders, gusto lang nila lagi kang pagurin, pag-ayunuhin at pag-fasten. Gusto kanya lagi maging anti-social almost. Ikulong ka sa ministry at pagurin ka ng pagurin. Hindi niyo ba napapansin na ganyan ang general trend? Because they equate godliness sa pagiging pagod. Papaliitin ang mundo mo. Mapapagalitan kapag uma-attend ka ng mga pagtitipon, ng mga party. In fact, kahit nga religious event yung inattendan mo, pag hindi yung sariling church ang sponsor, ayaw ka pa rin pa-attendin. Kukulungin ka. Kukulungin ang iyong isip, paliliitin ang iyong mundo. That is not the style of Jesus. John 2, 1-2. On the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there. And Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. Needless to say, the Lord went. So what does that tell us about Jesus? That Jesus attended socials. So why will modern day religious leaders prevent God's children from attending socials? When Jesus himself, the supreme example, was always present in many socials. Matthew 11:19. But the Son of Man goes around eating and drinking, and you say, that man eats and drinks too much. He is even a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is shown to be right by what it does. Nakita niyo ang example na iniwan sa atin ng Panginoong Jesus? Pag niyayaya siyang umattend ng mga social gathering, he attends. At ang naging puna, ang naging pintas sa kanya ng mga religious leaders, sobra daw siya makainom, sobra daw siya makakain, timawa daw siya, matakaw, masiba. No, glutton eh. You're a glutton and a drunkard. That was the accusation. Lasengo daw siya. Sabi niya ganon, at siya pa ay kaibigan ng mga masasamang tao, ng mga makasalanan. If Jesus did this, do you think Jesus would prevent God's children from being nice and friendly even to these types of people that are rejected by the Pharisees? Do you think that when you ask Jesus, pwede po ba ako umattend ng party? Jesus would say no. But 99% of religious leaders would say no. Worldly yan. So itatanong mo sa kanya, sino po ang model? Ang Pharisees. Pero sino ba talaga ang model ng mga mananampalataya? Di ba si Jesus? At pati yun, nagbigay siya ng puwang, nagbigay siya ng freedom. Freedom, of course, is not a license to do just anything you want. Pero pagka may pumipigil sa atin, alamin niyo muna kung pumipigil si Jesus o ang Pharisees. Kung ang pagpigil ay nanggagaling sa kautusan ni Jesus o sa tradisyon ng mga Pharisees, para maiki-calibrate nyo at mai-adjust, mga kapatid, ang behavior doon sa mga pumipigil at sa kanilang pagpigil. Ano pa mga pinagagawa ni Jesus na hindi nagustuhan ng mga religious leaders? Tulad ng ginagawa ng maraming tao ngayon na laging madidisapprove ng mga religious leaders. But the way of Jesus is the way of love. The way that gives space. The way that allows you to make free choices and be responsible for your choices. Jesus never simplified things into black and white, right or wrong. Maraming mga gray areas siya na pinuntahan at ginawa. At makikita nyo, sabi niya, wisdom is shown to be right by what it does. To be kind, He allowed His disciples to pick fruit and eat it at Sabbath. Na bawal sa law ng mga Pharisees, sa laws ng Israel. Pero, ang inintindi niya, yung gutom ng mga tao at yun ang kanyang inunawa. Hindi niya pinilit silang sumunod at maging sunod-sunuran sa mga policy kahit gutom sila. Kahit na nagdidiliryo na sila sa gutom. Sa mga ministries ng napakaraming mga religious works, halos gasgasin, ubusin yung lakas ng mga manggagawa. Sa will of God's will, for God's glory, etc., etc. But what did Jesus do? One day, when He noticed that His disciples were so preoccupied with ministry that they had no time to eat or to rest. Nakapaligid ang napakaraming tao, humihingi ng prayer, humihingi ng ministration, ng counseling, humihingi ng himala, humihingi ng turo. Ano kaya ang ginawa ni Jesus? Mark 6:31. But so many people were coming and going that Jesus and the apostles did not even have a chance to eat. Then Jesus said, let's go to a place where we can be alone and get some rest. Yun ang pag-ibig ni Jesus. Hindi lang niya iniibig yung mga taong pinaglilingkuran kahit himatayin na sa pagod yung mga naglilingkod. Iniibig niya lalo yung mga lingkod ng Diyos. Iniibig niya yung mga naglilingkod, hindi yung laging isasakripisyo ang worker for the sake of the people. Of course, there are instances when that has to be done, but you know how Jesus thinks and how Jesus loves. Sabi niya, kahit mamatay tayong lahat dito ng katatrabaho, hindi mauubos ang miniministera natin. So, bago tayo mamatay, magpahinga muna tayo, isara muna ang gawain, at lumayo tayo sa mga taong ito para kayo makapagpahinga at makakain. Ganon siya magmahal. Hindi laging pinapagalitan ka dahil nagkulang ka ng paglilingkod sa mga tao. Bakit ikaw? Hindi ka ba tao? Kailangan mo rin ng pagmamahal, kailangan mo rin ng pangunawa, at kailangan mo rin ng pahinga. May mga ganyang magulang, nakakalungkot mga kapatid. Kung ikaw tong matino, ikaw tong marunong, ikaw tong responsable, ikaw tong may trabaho, ikaw tong kumikita, yung ibang magulang sobrang magmahal doon sa mga anak nilang batugan, tamad, walang trabaho, palaasa. So gagasgasing ka na anak na matino. Ikaw ang laging hihingan, ikaw ang laging sabihin, pasensya ka na anak, lagi ka na lamang na dinadaingan, kinokonsensya, para yung pera mo makuha ng nanay mo o ng tatay mo sa iyong pocket at ilagay sa bulsa ng mga anak nilang walang trabaho. So you say, ganyan ba umibig ang Diyos? Siyempre, mahal mo rin yung naglilingkod, lalo mo nga yung minamahal. Hindi lagi mo sinasacrifice. Pinoprotect mo rin. That is the love of Jesus. Hindi lang yung makadiyos ang lagi nilang magtiis, maghirap. Sabi niya, teka, mag-retreat muna tayo, mag-refresh kayo, magpahinga kayo. Lord, ang dami pong nagugutom, pero kayo gutom na rin. Kayo na muna, babalikan na lang natin sila. Hindi yung bulag na paglilingkod na namamatay na yung naglilingkod, sige pa ng sige. Very considerate. Pagka inaral natin at sinuri talaga yung character ni Jesus, you will fall in love with Him. Nakakapagtaka, marami mga tao lumalayo sa church, nagiging atheist, nawawala ng gana sa religion. Alam nyo, ang kaisa-isang dahilan lang, ang totoo, hindi pa nila nakikilala si Jesus, hindi pa nila nababatid ang pag-ibig ni Jesus, tas ang nakilala nila, pinagsawaan at kinadalaan yung sobrang pag-exploit, paggamit, kahigpitan, at lack of love ng mga religious leaders. So they think that when they are turned off with organized religion, when they are turned off with the leadership, they think that they also are turned off with God because they mis-equate those people with God. Akala nila yun ang utos ng Diyos. Therefore, kasi itong akala nila ay lingkod ng Diyos, hindi nila nagugustuhan, dapat hindi na rin nila magustuhan ang Diyos. Sa mga nakausap ko po, ng mga nagsasabing sila ay atheist, ayaw nilang maniwala sa Diyos, pag sinuri mo, ang ibig lang nilang sabihin na ito, hindi sila naniniwala sa organized religion, hindi sila naniniwala sa isang particular na sekta o pamamaraan, o hindi sila naniniwala sa isang doktrina. Kaya sabi ko, ihiwalay nyo ang issue ng Diyos sa issue ng religions who are saying that they represent God. Because these institutions could misrepresent God. So kung gusto nyong lumayo sa kanila, edi lumayo kayo, pero huwag kayong lalayo sa Diyos. Hanapin nyo ang Panginoon. Gusto nyo sa ibang paraan, sa ibang institusyon, sa ibang grupo, pero huwag nyong idamay ang Diyos sa mga pinaggagawa ng mga religious leaders at ng mga religious organizations na nakaka-turn off sa inyo. At naiintindihan nila. Oo nga, katulad na lamang sa Russia, nung umuso ang socialism, that they wanted really to develop into full-blown communism, pinagbawal nila ang relihiyon, isinara nila ang mga simbahan. Bakit? Kasi dala sila sa kasaysayan kasi ng Europa at lalong-lalo ng Eastern Europe, ng Russia. Sobrang hirap ng mga tao at ang nagpalala ng kahirapan nila ay ang pagtuturo ng simbahan na magtiis lang lagi at intayin na lang kabilang buhay dahil doon na lang babawi. Napag-isip-isip yan ng mga philosophers at sabi nga nila, lalo ni Karl Marx at ang iba pa mga thinkers, sabi nila, religion is the opium of the people. In other words, they think of religion as just a tool of the powers that be, meaning yung sa buwatan ng hari at ng simbahan, ng palasyo at ng simbahan, para panatilihin ang mga tao, huwag silang mag-alma, huwag silang mag-alsa, at patuloy na makinabang yung dalawang powers, yung palas at yung church. So in reaction to that, socialism rejects religion. Pero nakilala ba nila talaga yung Diyos? Nakilala ba nila talaga ang Ama sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakilala ni Jesus? O ang nalaman at nakilala nila tungkol sa Diyos ay baluktot dahil ibinigay sa kanila ng relihiyon na nami-misrepresent ang pag-ibig ng Diyos? Kaya dapat paghiwalayin ang mga issues na ito. According to the example given by the Lord, everyone must have and must be given space and time to rest. Everyone must be given a chance to be alone to be able to rest well. Hindi na kailangan pag-usapan o botohan pa kung sila ba ay magpapahinga, sila ay kakain. Kaya mga kapatid, kung kayo nagpapahinga, may mga time na kayo ay naglilingkod sa Panginoon pero kailangan nyo ng pahinga, kailangan nyo ng break, hindi na kailangan humanap ng reason or excuse or justification. Kung magpapaalam kayo sa inyong ministry at sabi nyo magpapahinga muna ako ng 2 months, you don't have to feel like a sinner. And you must not be treated like a sinner. Hindi na kailangan ipaliwanag pa o kailangan mo ng pahinga. O sige, gusto ng Panginoon magpahinga ka. Huwag mo lang sobrang habaan. Magpahinga ka, ibig sabihin, habulin mo yung hininga mo at pag nahabol mo na, get back to the ministry. Get back to where you belong. At ang nakita natin na personalidad ng Panginoon was that He was a very sociable person. Jesus grew in wisdom and stature, in favor with God and with men. He was socializing. Hindi niya ikinulong ang kanyang sarili, inalayo sa mundo para huwag siya magkasala. Talagang nakihalubilo, nakipagmabutihan siya sa mga matatawag na makasalanan. Sabi niya, I came to seek and to save the lost. Siyempre, hindi naman siya nakisama, pero siya ay nakihalubilo. Bakit siya nakihalubilo? Because socializing is premised on loving. It is premised on giving to and not judging others. Yung pagiging sociable ng Panginoon is a direct contrast to the separatist attitude of the religious leaders. Alam niyo ba na mga religious leaders of Israel noong panahon na yon, kung ang araw ay nakatagilid, hindi tanghaling tapat, na sa anumang angle ay pag tumama sa isang bahay, yung bahay ay magkakaanino doon sa kalsada, sa maliit na lansangan. These religious leaders will never pass by a street with the shadow of the house of a sinner. Hindi sila papayag na maglakad na mapalagay sa anino ng bahay ng taong itinuturing nila makasalanan. Ganun ang paghiwalay nila. Pag unclean ka, hawiwalay ka. Ang konti-konti nang pwedeng makisalamuha sa kanila. Yun ay binasag ng Panginoon. Hinayaan niya ang babaeng dinudugo na humawak sa kanya, bawal yon. Hinawakan niya ang isang bangkay at binuhay, bawal yon. Pumunta siya doon sa lalaking inaalihan ng maraming masasamang espiritu na nakatira sa mga libingan, bawal pumunta doon kasi magiging marumi ka. Hinayaan niya ang kanyang mga disipulo na kumain ng Sabat, sa Sabat. Nagpagaling siya ng mga may sakit sa Sabat, bawal yon. Ang dami. Ipinakita ng Panginoon, sobrang daming bawal sa buhay nyo. Hindi na pag-ibig ang natatanggap nyo. At pagka in-implement nyo lahat yung bawal na yan, hindi na rin kayo magiging maibigin. Kaya sabi niya, ang totoo, isang batas na lang ang isa-isip nyo, isa-puso at gawin. Love one another. Pag in-analyze natin ang behavior ng maraming tinatawag na born-again Christians, they always talk about the love of Jesus, but it is not always clear if they understand it. They always say you are saved by grace, not by works. But it is not clear if they understand it. Because if you're going to simplify the way many Bible-based evangelical Christians deal with what they call sinners or the unsaved, parang ganito. Kaibigan, tanggapin mo si Jesus bilang Panginoon tagapagligtas. Hindi mo kailangan ng good works. By grace ang salvation. You are saved by grace through faith. So huwag ka na magpasa ng krus. Huwag ka na maghampas sa sarili. Hindi mo kailangan may i-observe na diet o whatever para ka maligtas. Kumikit ka, manalig, manalangin at magpaligtas because you are saved by grace. Gusto mong gawin natin, gawin natin. And then ililid nila sa prayer yung tao. At pagkadilat, sasabihin nila sa tao, ngayong save ka na. Hindi na by grace. By works na. Kailangan, di mo to gawin, di mo to kainin, ito isuot mo. Ibinalik lang nila doon sa works. Pero hindi nila yung napapansin. Kasi ibinabalik nila yung tao to be bound by so many laws, so many restrictions, na tinakpan na nga ni Lord ng isang utos, love. Forgive. Love and forgive. Kaya in real life, parang pinadali mo dun sa tao na tanggapin si Jesus at pagkatanggapin na sabi mo, uy, topo-topo. Ngayon, kailangan pagsikapan mo na i-maintain yung salvation mo. At tuwing nakikita kita nagkakamali, i-re-review kita because open rebuke is better than secret love. Pag may mali ka, ipupulpito ka, ilalagay sa bulletin board ang iyong pangalan, lilitisin ka ng ating board of elders. At kung napatunayan nagkamali ka, tatayo ka sa harap ng kongregasyon para admitin mo sa lahat. So, nasan yung grace? Dapat nating unawain na pag nagtuturo tayo ng grace ni Jesus, you teach it before people accept Him as Savior and Lord, and you continue to implement it when they are already saved by grace. Hindi sabi mo, New Testament na ngayon, love na, pero pagkatanggap, back tayo sa Old Testament. Plus, many other New Testament situations and mga pagbabawal na dinevelop ng church when Jesus went back to heaven. Suriin kung talagang papamaraan ni Jesus ang pinapairal natin o akala lang pala natin. At binigyan tayo ni Jesus ng hindi nakakalitong patakaran. Pagkilala mo ang Diyos, umiibig ka sa Diyos, anak ka ng Diyos, maibigin ka. Hindi lang sa emosyon o damdamin, maibigin ang iyong methods, maibigin ang iyong systems, maibigin ang iyong policies, ang iyong mga rules and regulations, pawang maiibigin. In other words, hindi ka nabubuhay sa takot yung mga mananampalataya na baka sila maparusahan, baka sila mabisto, baka sila mapag-usapan, baka sila ma-reject na naman. I-implement mo yung grace ng Panginoon. And when that happens, everybody is more relaxed. When that happens, you can unmask and show your true self because you know that you will be accepted and loved and not judged. And because you unmask yourself, everybody can minister to you so that you could be what you have to be and what you want to be, and you can stop hiding behind a mask that is not really you, just to be accepted. And when you are accepted, you also learn to accept others. And when you receive love, you begin to be more loving. Then you begin to be a congregation of true followers of Jesus. At sabi sa Book of Acts, nung naramdaman ng lahat yung ganong pag-iibigan, and they were always praying, eating together, praising God, the Lord added to their number daily those that were being saved. Saved from hell? Yes. But saved from what else? Saved from judgment of fellow believers. Saved from needless guilt. Saved from having to be hypocritical. Saved from having to hide your true heart. You are set free, you are released, and therefore, you rest. You are restful. At sabi yan ng Panginoong Jesus, come to me all of you who are tired and heavy laden. Tired with what? Tired of all the burdens that religion imposes on you. Tired of hiding. Tired of pretending to be okay, because when you say you are not okay, you will be judged. Sabi niya, come to me all of you who are tired and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. And how does Jesus give rest? By not judging you. By accepting you unconditionally, and by healing you and getting you well on the way to recovery, to grow from glory to glory. And how else does Jesus give rest? By telling you not to judge others. Kasi pag judgmental ka, hindi ka mapapahinga. Hanap ng mali ng iba. Kwenta ka ng kwenta, tuos ka ng tuos, bilang ka ng bilang ng mga kasalanan nila. Paano ka mapapahinga nun? Sabi niya, come to me, those of you who are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. My yoke is easy compared to the yoke of the Pharisees, compared to the yoke of these conservative implementors of 10 Commandments and 613 mitzvot. So kahit anong gawin nyo, di nyo yan masusunod. Kulang at kulang kayo. Guilty at guilty. Nasaan ang rest doon? Come to me, I'll give you rest. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. Paano nyo malalaman kung ang reading of a verse and the interpretation of a verse is correct? Is in the spirit of Jesus? Ang effect nun sa inyo, light. Magaan. Hindi yung sakal na sakal ka. Sikip na sikip. Pilit na pilit. Napipilitan lang. Light ba yun? You know it's not light. Therefore, you know it's not the way of Jesus. Because His way is easy. His burden is light. Sabi niya, come to me and you will find rest for your souls. Yun ba ang nararamdaman natin bilang anak ng Diyos? Dapat yon. Hindi yung laging kulang, laging guilty. Jesus took away our infirmities as far as the east is from the west. He separated our sins from us, not of our own doing, but because of the deeds of Christ on the cross. It is the love of God that makes us good and looks good. It is not our own achievement. That works before salvation, and very importantly, it works after salvation. So matapos makakilala sa Panginoon, don't go back to the old system of guilt, of judgment, of difficulty, of hardship. Kaya gagaan. Hindi dahil talagang madali, kundi dahil pinadali ng Panginoon because of His unconditional love. He was called by His critics a glutton and a drunkard. Can you imagine that? It means He was really going around eating and drinking. When will we ever know and accept that? Because many Christians have become so Pharisaic and conservative that they deny even these verses. Hindi naman siguro, baka naman tubig lang yan. Ayaw mo kasing tanggapin because you were conditioned by religion already to demonize socializing. That even the verses are clear, many people will not accept it, and they will insist on the other, less restful and more judgmental reading of the verse. The first recorded miracle of Jesus was turning water into wine. It was not even healing a sick person. It was turning water into wine so that the party and this wedding reception will not be interrupted just because there was no more wine. Ganun siya kabait. Ganun kahalaga sa kanya yung enjoyment ng mga tao. You know, the people of Israel, especially during the time of the Lord, 99.99% of them were dirt poor. Because the economy was enjoyed only by the Roman colonizers and the local elite. The political and the religious elite. Nasa kanila lahat ang pera at kabuhayan, and everybody else was a slave for a free person but working like a slave. So when they have a wedding and people are having fun and they're eating and drinking, Jesus will not allow it to be interrupted in kindness to these people who work so hard and get so little from life. Ganun siya kabait. How do we translate that into life? Alam natin maraming problema tao. Maraming mahal sa buhay na may sakit o namamatay o namatay. Maraming utang. Maraming pangamba. Tapos nagkakasiya-siya sila ngayon, mangingil-joy ka ba? Ganyan ba tumawa ang Christian? Salamat nga, napapatawa pa siya. Nare-relax ang katawan. Sumasaya. Tapos kikil-joyan mo. Pamisa-misa lang makabili yung tao ng damit na pinapangarap niya. Sasabihin mo, anong damit mo? Nagsusuot ba ng ganyan ng Christian? Sabi mo, oo, Christian ako, at suot ko to. Therefore, sinusuot to ng Christian. Anong problema mo? Ang dami kasing church bullies. Ayaw kanilang sumaya. Yung mga taong sobrang mga istrikto, sobrang mga mahihigpit, pasusungit, madalas tingnan nyo, wala lang silang love life. So, gusto lang magdusa din yung iba, naiinis sila sa masaya. Subukan mo magkaroon niya ng papa. Ang ama. Biglang sumasaya, hindi ka pinapansin pag masaya ka. They are so miserable that they want to inflict their misery on everyone else. And aren't many religious people really miserable? Nagtatago sa relihiyon, ikinukubli ang mga sarili nilang frustration sa buhay, nagpapakatago-tago, nagpapaka-conservative, layo ng layo sa lalaki. Yung pala, wala naman talaga, nanliligaw lang. So para huwag na lang mahalata, layo na lang ng layo. At pagka ikaw maraming manliligaw, mainit ang ulo sa'yo. Kukurot-kuroting ka, sisimangutang ka. Di ba gano'n ang mga old maid natin, mga tita, ang hihigpit, subukan mo magka-boyfriend yan, luluwag. Hindi naman lahat. Pero maraming gano'n. Many people are so miserable that they want to inflict others with the suffering that they suffer. Kaya sabi ni Lord, don't be like that. Relax. Learn to love. Learn to enjoy the moment. Because when you are enjoying the moment, when you are rested, when you are well-fed, you become kinder. You become nicer. Not only to yourself, but to others as well. Dapat tigilan na natin mga kapatid yung pag-equate ng spirituality with suffering. Nauso kasi yan yung monasticism, nauso yung mga self-denial ng mga 2nd, 3rd century. Bakit hanggang ngayon may mga taong laging fasting, laging ayaw magsuot na maganda, ayaw umupo sa may kutsyon, ayaw guminhawa, ayaw sumaya? May pinagmumulan yan Noon kasing ang Christianity ay inisponsor ng Emperor of Rome, Emperor Constantine. Binigyan niya ng napakaraming privileges ang mga pare at ang mga bishops. Ginawa niyang state religion of Rome ang Christianity. So from a persecuted religion, this was now a religion that enjoyed a lot of privileges. To the point that he was giving palaces, a lot of wealth to the bishops. At ang maraming mga ito ay sobrang lumuho ang buhay, nalayo na sila ng nalayo sa mga tunay na kalagayan ng mga tao. May nag-react, mga relihiyoso inside the church, that reacted to this corruption, to this luxury and splendor, by going to the other extreme, by denying pleasure, denying comfort, denying everything nice and beautiful and enjoyable from themselves and from their fellow believers. At doon nagsimula yung concept na yan, ng puro pagtitiis, puro pagtitiis. Hindi ganyan ang nakita nating example ng Panginoon. He socialized, He mixed with people, He was there in their events. At may mga churches pa, mga kapatid, nagtatanong sa akin sa Facebook ang mga member, Pastor, pwede po bang tumawa? Bakit hindi? Sabi po ng pastor namin, si Jesus, hindi tumawa. Ha? May verse ba na nagsabing hindi siya tumawa? Wala daw pong verse na nagsabing tumawa siya. So dahil walang verse na nakita tayong tumawa siya, hindi na siya tumawa. Eto sabi ko, huwag kang malisyoso. May nakita ka bang verse na sinabing umihi si Lord? Wala po. Hindi siya umihi. May verse ba na nagsabing naligo siya ever? Hindi siya naligo. Paghahanapan mo ng verse ang bawat gusto mong gawin sa buhay, huwag kang kakain ng adobo. Wala yan sa Bible. In other words, this kind of interpretation, pinapaliit ang mundo mo. Ang lapad-lapad ng kalsada, doon ka lang papadaanin sa puting linya sa gitna na napakapayat. This is conservatism. And this is the reason why many people are turned off with religion. They think it is from Jesus. No, it is from the Pharisees. So mga kapatid, suriin natin ang lahat. Dapat magaan. At paggaanin natin ang buhay ng mga kapwa natin mananampalataya. Huwag natin husgahan. Hindi mo alam kung anong nangyayaring crisis sa buhay niya ngayon. Na pinipilit lang niya libangin ang sarili niya, kaya siya nagpapaganda, kaya siya tawa ng tawa, tapos papagalitan mo pa. Love, like Jesus loved. He was not called a friend of sinners for nothing. Jesus did not judge, so was not in the habit of rebuking people. Hindi siya mahilig mang-rebuke. Yung pang-re-rebuke sa Pharisees yan. Yung open rebuke is better than secret love is wrongly read and wrongly applied. Excuse ng mga tao na laging gustong mang-rebuke. The very few stinging rebukes of Jesus were directed only at the Pharisees, the religious oppressors, and the religious hypocrites. The habit of rebuking one another came much later, after Jesus, promoted by zealous church people. Makikita nyo rin, kahit sa New Testament, rebukan sila ng rebukan, pero pag binasa nyo talaga, even the disciples were awayan ng awayan. So hindi lahat ng example nila ay dapat sundin, because there's only one person that lived a perfect life, who could be an example in every aspect of our humanity, and that is the human Jesus, the other side of the divine Jesus. Siya ang example, hindi ang iba. But even the idea and method, even when you want to rebuke, should be submitted to, filtered through, and measured by the teachings and examples of Jesus. Why? Colossians 1:17, God's Son was before all else, and by Him, everything is held together. Siya talaga ang dapat na asahan, sundin, because by Him, everything is held together. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus answered, without me, no one can go to the Father. Now, analyze natin yan. Habaan nga natin ngayon, 2 linggo na akong absent dito sa Miyerkules na to eh. Mga 9 o'clock, game kayo. Magsasara na yung tricycle patungo sa village nyo, no? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus answered, without me, no one can go to the Father. What does that really mean? The usual reading is, without Jesus, you cannot go to heaven, you cannot be saved from hell. Yes, that is a very good reading. But there are many other layers of reading. Because to say the Father also means heaven, which means a heavenly life, the reign of peace and contentment and happiness and rest in a person's life, whether or not nandito pa siya o nasa kabilang buhay. So ang sinasabi ni Jesus, 1, kung hindi sa pamamaraan ko, hindi kayo maliligtas mula sa impyerno at hindi kayo pupunta sa langit. Okay. Number 2, kung hindi sa pamamaraan ko, hindi nyo matitikman ng langit sa buhay na ito. Hindi ninyo mararanasan ang tunay na presensya ng Ama. Hindi kayo mapapahinga, matatahimik, sasaya, gagaan. Sa pamamaraan ko lang ninyo mararanasan yan. Compared to pamamaraan ng Pharisees, pamamaraan ng mga religious leaders, ng mga conservatives, sinasabi ni Lord, hindi nyo matitikman ng langit sa pamamaraan na yan. Di kayo mapapahinga, di kayo matatahimik, di kayo makokontento. Lagi kayong kulang. Lagi kayong guilty. Kasi sabi niya, without me, you cannot go to the Father. Without the way and method of Jesus applied to today's life, you will never experience a slice of heaven on earth. But if you apply the teachings and the methods of Jesus, kahit nandito pa kayo, wala pa kayo sa langit, wala pa kayo sa kabilang buhay, di ba ang prayer? Mapasa amin ang kaharian mo, thy kingdom come. Hindi mo naman sinabing, I will go to your kingdom, but thy kingdom come. How will the kingdom come? When the reign of God is felt in your life today. Meaning the style and method of Jesus is your style, and you benefit from its style, heaven comes down to you. You taste heaven. Pinaghaharian ka ng Diyos. Kaya ang sabi ni Jesus, pag sinabing nandun ang kaharian ng Diyos, nasa labas, nandun, huwag kayong pumunta. Sabi niya, the kingdom of heaven is not here or there. It is within you. So kahit ngayon mga kapatid, the good news is, pwede nang ma-enjoy ang kingdom of heaven, pwede nang maranasan how to be in heaven by applying in your life the methods of Jesus. He will usher you into the presence of God. God will reign in your life. The Father who loves will rule your life, and you will behave and know and feel as if you were in heaven already. Remember, thy kingdom come. Mapasa amin. Paano yon? Sundin ang paraan ni Jesus. Walang ibang dapat sundin, si Jesus lang. Kung may conflict kung sinong dapat sundin, huwag kayong malito. Si Jesus dapat. Philippians 2:9-11. Therefore God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name. That at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. That leaves no room for error in interpretation. It is the way of Jesus that must be our way. His style, His method, no others. Because Jesus is above all else, the way of Jesus is the highest. Needless to say, Christians are to follow Christ. Jesus set clear commands and graphic examples on how to deal with our fellow men. Identify the teachings and examples of Jesus from variant, opposing, and disobedient teachings and examples given by other personages and institutions. Hindi lahat ng teaching na sinasabing Christian siya, hindi lahat ng teacher o grupong sinasabing Christian sila ay paraan nga ni Christ ang pinapairal. Kung minsan akala lang nila, hindi nila nauunawa that the way of Jesus is loving, forgiving, restful, kind. Always ask, what did Jesus do? The way of Jesus liberates, gives life, and enriches. Wala kang pagsisisihan, wala kang kalugi-lugi pag kay Jesus ka sumunod. Pero dapat clear kung sinong sinusunod. Sabi ni Lord sa John 10, everyone who came before me was a thief. Ang mga naunang guro na nagturo, ninakawan lang kayo. Ninakawan kayo ng saya, ninakawan kayo ng kalayaan, ninakawan kayo kahit ng inyong pera. Sabi niya, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me. Linawin natin kung kanino tayo sumusunod. In loving people, what Jesus did then guides us to what we would do now under similar circumstances. Choose the way of peace. Choose the way of love. Choose the teaching and example and way of Jesus. And heaven will come down, if not to everyone on the planet, at least into your heart. Jesus is the way to the Father. Salamat, Panginoon. Dahil mahal na mahal niyo kami, hindi niyo kami pinabayaan at ang aming mga ninuno na sumunod lang sa mga nakagawian at narinig na nila, ipinadala niyo si Jesus para ituwid ang mga likong katuroan. Ipinadala niyo si Jesus para maging liwanag, maging sa dilim ng mga religious practices. Ipinadala niyo siya para kami ibigin,